the WWE's Hall of Fame is the Friday before WrestleMania. And we are going to do this a little earlier in the week, but just lost track of time. And, it's interesting because with these inductees, WWE has gone 4 for 4 with TNA Hall of Famers. And the reason I say that is because the newest inductees of the Hall of Fame are the Dudley Boys. And I'm not talking about the whole Dudley clan. I'm not talking about Dudley Dudley. I'm not talking about Chubby Dudley, Dances with Dudley, Sign Guy Dudley, Spike Dudley, Snot Dudley, or even Dances with Dudley. And I had to look at that because God knows there were so many fucking Dudleys, I was going to forget some. But we're talking about the originators, the ones that were there the longest, Bubba Ray and Devon. And you look at their history, you look at what they've done. I mean, just looking at what they've done in ECW and WCW, not in WCW, but during the Invasion angle, technically WCW, but it's a foggy history, so we'll go to that later. In New Japan and All Japan and TNA and the NWA when it was NWA TNA still, or it was probably just TNA at that point. They just still had license to the NWA belt at that point, I guess. It was, again, it's foggy history with wrestling because TNA. I'll get into the TNA shit later, but that's a whole different beast on its own. But just thinking about what they've done to where the Dudley clan, like I just said, there were a bunch of Dudleys, like I just said. The originator. I think it was actually Dudley Dudley who was the originator, which wasn't really original, but who cares at that point, right? And then you had Big Dick Dudley. You had Bubba Ray, obviously. Chubby Dudley. Dances with Dudley. Dudley Dudley, as I said earlier. Devon Dudley. Sign Guy Dudley, which was fucking awesome. Spike Dudley. And Snot Dudley. Along with other ones like Cousin Steve and TNA, which doesn't really count, but it's there. It's there. Fuck. I don't know. But, you look at the Dudleys' career, just looking at their managers, they had a lot of managers, actually. Of course, obviously they were first trained by Johnny Rodz, who was a WWE Hall of Famer in his own right, who also managed them at one point as well. But their probably most recognized manager, besides Stacy Keibler, is Joel Gertner, the man who, with where the world is today, I'd probably leave Joel Gertner for another time, because the things I could say about him and the things I want to say about him, but, with this day and age, they don't really age well. And to be fair, Gertner hasn't aged well himself either, to be honest, but there's a network. There's a network you can watch that shit on, and it's fucking great. That's all I can really say about it without spoiling it or going into sexual innuendos and stuff like that, which is basically his fucking gimmick. But still. And of course, you had Signing Guy Dudley, we talked about earlier. We talked about Stacy Keibler. Paul Heyman managed him for a while, a little bit, during the ECW. Not just the Alliance bit, but also the when they were in ECW a little bit for the One Night Stand deal. Johnny Rodz, the guy who obviously trained them, obviously. Cousin Steve, who we barely mentioned. It was a TNA thing. It didn't last long, obviously, and it was fucking stupid. Johnny Devine, who was great in TNA with the whole X Division versus the Dudleys deal, which was basically making the Dudleys have a weight limit to compete against X Division superstars, which that most of the time they wouldn't make weight. It was fucking great. And I don't remember them being managed by Flow Rider, but I guess Flow Rider's on there for some reason. I don't know why, but fuck, I don't know. I really don't know. But as far as their accomplishments, it's probably one of the more decorated tag teams ever, compared to maybe even the Legion of Doom. What is it, like 24, 25 tag titles? Something like that? And we'll probably add it up after, just to make sure. But still, it's impressive. So first off, with All Japan Pro Wrestling, the World's Strongest Tag Determination League, which is one of their big tag tournaments in All Japan in 2005. For the Cauliflower Alley Club, I think it was under other honorees. I don't know why. Maybe it was just a new thing that happened in 90. It was in 97, so it was probably something, a category for like the newer age wasn't there at that time, so they just had it under other for some reason. I don't know why. For ECW, 8 times the tag team champions, although technically the Dudleys are 10-time tag team champions. Bubba and Devon obviously had 8. And Spike Dudley and Balls Mahoney, who somehow was a Dudley, had credited with 2. So I'm not going to question it, but it's there. And ECW is probably the best part of the Dudleys because, you know, once they got to WWE, they were basically stuttering fools for a little while until after the invasion. It was really dumb. It was really dumb, but they were over somehow. I don't know how, but it happened. For the Hustle promotion, their Super Tag titles for New Japan, the IWGP Tag Team Championships 2 times with that title. For Pro Wrestling Illustrated, for the Pro Wrestling Illustrated, the match of the year 2000 in the triangular ladder match, which was basically a TLC at WrestleMania 2000, and I think the first or second TLC ever. Both of these matches, of course, were against Edge and Christian and the Hardy Boys, but the one probably better known for the TLC match at WrestleMania X7, or 17 if you want to be a dick. The PWI Tag Team of the Year in 2001 and 2009, and the PWI Tag Team of the Decade from 2000 to 2009. For Squared Circle Wrestling, their version of the tag title. For TNA, and this is where it kind of differs a little bit. Bubba Ray, or Bully Ray at the time, 2-time TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Devon held the television title, which was basically the Legends belt, the TV title, the Global title, the Legends title, the whatever the fuck else, King of the Mountain title, basically the red belt. He held the red belt twice. That's basically, if you say the red belt, you know what you're talking about in fucking TNA, because that belt has changed so many times in names. It's ridiculous. It really is. Of course, they held the NWA World Tag Team Championships back when TNA still had the NWA titles. Of course, they had to vacate them once the NWA seceded from TNA in a way and took away the world title and the tag title, which actually robbed Kurt Angle of an NWA title reign. Because the last night the title was actually in TNA, Kurt Angle won it in a triple threat. And it was stupid. It was really stupid, but, you know, you can technically say Kurt Angle's closer to that 16-time title reign with that one, if you were to be very specific about it. They won a tag tournament in TNA in 2013. 2-time TNA World Tag Team Champions. Of course, they were the first TNA Tag Champions because of the whole NWA deal. Tag Team of the Year in 2005. And the TNA Hall of Fame class of 2014. Which is why I say, with them being TNA Hall of Famers, they are 4 for 4 having TNA Hall of Famers. Of course, Sting and Kurt Angle were the other 2 involved in that one. And when we come back, we'll go to the rest of the Dudley accomplishments, because Bubba Ray and Devon actually have separate accomplishments if you look at them differently.